right, give it up for Mr. Dave Gagnon. Woo!
I get knocked down, but I get up again. You're never gonna keep me down. I get knocked down.
All right, there's a timer somewhere, right? I was told there was a timer. Perfect. Fantastic. All right, yeah, I'll just tell you my story a little bit, and then I hope to share with you something that you can take from today and be able to call anybody that you want to target. So I really want to give you something tangible where you can go to work and build your revenue share, help build my company. This is our company, right? Being a shareholder means we're all in each other's company. We're all in each other's downline. So I don't care where someone comes in, we're all family. And to be part of Traci's family and Pat's family, and to get invited to Brent's stuff and be part of that family, we're all one family, right? So we share openly, and I feel blessed that I was invited to be here. Thank you so much. So I get a call. It goes like this. Ring, ring. Hey, Dave, I think you're doing a really good job and love to talk to you about this new company that we're building. It's called EXP. And I said, thanks for calling. I'm Mr. Everything in my world. I've built 7 KW offices. People call me from all over the country. I'm an owner of a market center. I get offers to own market centers all over the country to go do relaunches and those kind of things. I really appreciate your call, and I wish you all the best with your new little thing. And I hang up. You ever call anyone and they're not interested? Okay, so that's me. 6 months later, I get another call, same person, and it starts a little weird. The call goes something like this. Hey, Dave, yeah. Hey, listen, I'm just giving you a call back to see how things are going. And I said, Jason, it's been 6 months. Things are still going really well, and I really appreciate you calling again, but, let's just touch base in maybe a year or so. And he says, so Dave, you do this all the time. You've been doing it for a long time with KW. When you call someone that you really want to be in business with and they say they're not interested, what do you say to them? And I said, well, I tell them they would be fiscally irresponsible, to not fully understand the details of the opportunity that I was talking to them about before they said no. And then Jason very cleverly said, yeah, that. Jason is the master at dialogue, right? So I said, okay, you got me. I'll meet you for 15 minutes for a cup of coffee. You can tell me all about your little thing. And so at this time, I was traveling. I had a 4-hour commute to work. I was going from New Hampshire to Connecticut, and I would leave get up at 4, leave at 4:30 on Monday morning, and I would go. I was working 3 market centers at the time, and I would work there all week, live out of a hotel. Friday mid-morning, I would get in the car, make calls all the way back, and spend the weekend with my family. That's how good I thought that opportunity was. So the only time I could meet him was Sunday night, 7 o'clock, at a Panera. 1 cup of coffee, you're buying. So I start talking to him, and at first I found myself getting upset because if it was true, it was going to change my world. And then I got beyond that, and I started with the yabuts, looking for all the gotchas. Like we weren't public then. By the way, there were 272 agents at the time. They were in 18 states, not in mine. Wasn't even in my state. And it turned into 2.5 hours. After 2.5 hours, I said, dang it, not that word. And he said, what? I said, you broke it. He said, I broke what? I said, you broke my belief that where I was working was the best place to work. I said, I want to find a way to do this together. We shook hands. I resigned the next morning. So I drove 4 hours in to resign. I called my OP. I said, we need to meet this morning. He said, I can't meet you this morning. I said, we really need to meet this morning. He said, I can't meet you this morning. I said, well, okay, I'm going to do it on the phone. I'm resigning. He goes, I'll be there. So we talked, and we parted. So Friday, the Friday before, I had called an agent. We met. He was coming to the office. So my second call on Monday was I called Howard, and I said, Howard, the staff is expecting you to come in at about noon. They'll help you move your license over today and all that, and I just wanted to welcome you to Keller Williams, but let you know I wouldn't be here. And he said, well, where are you going to be? It's like, I don't work here anymore. He's like, you just recruited me on Friday. I said, it's a great company. It's really a good fit for you. You'll do great. He goes, where are you going? I said, this new company, EXP. I'm pretty excited about it. He goes, I'm in. I said, you don't know anything about it. He says, is it better than what you're doing? I said, yeah. He says, a little or a lot? I said, a lot. He said, I'm in. I said, we're not even in Connecticut yet. You can't join. He goes, when are you going to open? I said, we got to go find someone to open Connecticut. He goes, when you find someone, let me know. I'm in. It took us about 4 months, and we opened Connecticut, and he was the first agent to join in Connecticut. He was my first hire, right? So I'm going to tell you this about the story. The second call I got that was a little weird, hey, Dave, he fat dialed me. Fat finger dial. He did not mean to call me. He was calling someone else, hit my name, and was like, yeah, hey, Dave, yeah. Right? Thank goodness, because I don't think he ever would have called me again, right? And so when you call someone, you may be their only opportunity to hear the message at this point in their life. And so I think you owe it to them, right? So it's really changed my life. So I came over, and I had this little job. I think it's the longest title ever given to anybody, and it's because the salary was so small. But I was the director of growth and cloud leadership at eXp Realty. And we had 272 agents. We were in 18 states. In most states, we didn't have 2 agents to rub together. In Texas, we had 6 people. I think 2 were selling, 2 weren't, and 2 we couldn't find them. But they were still on, right? And there was a person who was really focused on building Texas back then. And so as the director of growth, I said, hey, what's going on in Texas? You guys got a lot of people, but we don't have a lot of people. He said, I've been pushing this for 6 years, and I'm telling you right now, this model don't work in Texas. Right? Right? So it's about leadership and finding the right people, right? What do we have in Texas now, 4,000 or 5,000? Right? I think it does work pretty well. So anyway, so my first year, I attracted a total of 3 people. I had a full-time job, and I wasn't supposed to attract. Like Howard said, I'm coming. I said, well, you can't name me. He said, yes, I am, right? So I got 3 people. So how many people here get a little frustrated when you get excited, you see everyone doing all this stuff in a short period of time, and you're like, man, I wish that was me, but I'm a dud, right? I didn't get anyone for 4 months. I only got 3 my first year. I think I'm the biggest dud in the room. The next year, I was more of a stud. I got 1 more. After 2 years, I had 4 directs, and I was working with them. I helped Howard recruit a couple. We had 11 people at the end of 2 years. Right? Could you do that? See, I think it's a good story because everyone I talk to, I can say, I'll help you get 3. With this model, do you think we can get 3? Yeah. All right, you're on the same path as me. So then I had the pleasure of meeting Traci, and through Traci, Pat, I love your energy. In my head, you are a puppy, a Labrador, just always going full of energy, right? I love that. And they would come into the sessions that I was doing. We'd do sessions every Wednesday, right? And we'd talk about scripts and dialogue and tactics and strategies and great questions and collaboration and all that stuff. And then you guys started growing and all that. And then I saw the checks that you guys were making. I was like, I knew it was possible. That's why I came. But I was so wrapped up in helping the company, helping everybody, right? And then I was like, I can't do this. I have to resign. And so they allowed me to partially resign. And I kept doing some of the stuff that I was doing, but I could starting to work with my group. And so that year we ended with 119 people. Started with 11, got to 119. So So a little focus. The next year, 661. Last year, we ended at 1,504. And we're adding about 100 people a month right now. Right? So I think there's power in little bits of the story, right? I mean, I got a second call. That's good for me. Persistence is good for the other person. If you just sponsored one person and they go and they find 1,500 people, what's that worth to you? Even if you don't get 40 wide, right? Glenn built a model that we still get a little piece of everything, right? And so, like my upline, if they only had one person, they would make about $170,000 a year or so. If we're getting one guy, I don't even sell real estate. I'm a dud, right? One person who started slow, who is kind of getting it done a little bit, right? One person, about $175,000. But that person is incentivized. If I get 5 wide, I get a little bit more. If I get 10 wide, I get a little bit more. If I get 40 wide, it's worth about, we can't even say numbers, right? But it's worth about $1,000 a head. You do the math. Right? So there's incentive to help build the company. Does that make sense? Okay. So I'm just going to continue, so a dud isn't something bad. It's an explosive that hasn't gone off yet. Doesn't mean it can't, right? It took me a while. And so I love Howard. If you guys get to meet Howard Fritz, he's a great guy, as sweet a guy as you can meet. And he's my first guy. And we got him 3, 4, 5 people, maybe 6, 7 people in his first 4 years. And they all did a few $1 million, right? That's good. And then he met one guy. His name is Mitch Rybeck. He came over with the largest movement of agents in the U.S. 40 agents came over down in Florida. And Mitch now has almost 400 people. He's been here a little over a year. So how's that work for Howard? Right? So this is powerful. So we'll go to the cat slide. And I just want to teach you guys cats. This is something that I've done for 15 years. And I feel that I've never made a cold call. And so for me, a cold call, first of all, cold calls are not proper in our culture. No one wants to be an agent in your local market and get 12 calls from 12 different agents all saying, hey, I want to talk to you about this, blah, 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 right? And so with cats, it's a dialogue system that I think if you follow, you'll never have another cold contact again, and it'll allow you to truly build some good relationships. And so CAT stands for compliment, attract, take away, and schedule or set the next expectation. And so it just gives you a little pattern. So I learned this about 25 years ago. I used to write it on my hand. I would write cats down in the palm of my hand so I could keep myself on track with it. And so it goes something like this. So first of all, if I'm going to call someone, I'm not going to call them unless I want to be in business with them. And so there's 1.2 million realtors out there for us to talk to today. Do we want to be in business with all of them? No, some are A number ones. You guys know what that means, right? That's code for someone I don't want to be in business with, right? And so I don't want to be in business with them. And so if I'm going to call Pat Hayes, why would I want to be in business with Pat? Well, I got to do a little homework. Now, if I've done deals with Pat, I could say, Pat, man, you were one of the best negotiators that I ever went against. I'm so happy we got that deal together. Or maybe, Betty, you were so awesome at holding that deal together. Whatever it is, right? And so if I know them, the compliment that I give them is sincere and honest, and they remember that we shared the same experience. But if I was contacting Pat from across the country, and I saw that he was doing $17 million, and he had been in the business a short period of time and had this kind of trajectory, had good branding out there, I could call and tell him those things, right? And so who in here doesn't like to have a compliment? We all would, every hour there's a bell that went off and the closest person next to you had to give you a compliment, it'd be a good day, right? And so pay a compliment, no matter who you're calling. So for me, it's easier. If I'm going to call people that are iconic agents, I'm going to do it all in a period of time. So I'm going to get all my homework done. I know who I'm calling. I know why I want to be in business with them. And then I can also lump together what my attraction statements are, right? So the A stands for attract. And so having a strong attraction statement is, why would you want to talk with me? Why would you want to give me 15 minutes and a cup of coffee? And so that's based on the audience. So if I'm calling an icon agent, my attraction statement might go something like this. You're doing a great job. See your trajectory in your first 4 years. You're absolutely amazing. Hey, listen, I'd love to talk to you about what the equity award program is here. It's a way where folks like you can actually have real equity in the company. It's amazing. And then I move into takeaway. I always do the same one. I'm pretty lazy. You may not be interested in making a change, right? I'm giving them a takeaway. However, being a smart business person, I'm sure you'd want to know the details before you said yes or no. And then I'm setting the next expectation, which would be another phone call, a face-to-face meeting, watching the video, whatever your deal is. Does that make sense? And so if you just think about who you want to attract to your business, you can write out what your attraction statements are. And so if I'm talking to someone who's iconic, then I'm talking about the equity. If I'm talking to someone who's a business owner, I might be talking about an end game, right? What's your end game for transitioning the equity in your position, right? And so if it's an agent who's newer in the business and I'm running a productivity coaching, mentoring thing as my attraction piece, right? I can be calling people who are doing $1 million or $2 million and show them that I can get them on track for, doubling that, tripling that, right? And I can sit down and show them my systems. I can show them my technology. I can get them in the back door, KV Core, show them we're generating over 100 leads per month, show them how to do the same thing, right? And so if I can compliment them, a real compliment, they're going to listen because we all like to hear it. If I can give them an attraction statement that they can find attractive, so the more I know about them, the stronger it can be. I give them a takeaway to take the pressure off, and then all I'm asking for is what? 15-minute phone call, either watch the video, get together for lunch, whatever it might be. Does that make sense? All right. The last thing I'm going to leave you with is this. We all want to grow the company. We all want you to be successful. We want the 45,000 people that will be part of the family in the next 12 months or so to be successful, right? We're all business partners. We all treat everyone with respect and with partnership and with collaboration, right? So if I'm talking to someone and they've already been talking with Traci, I'm reaffirming that they're in conversation. I'm putting them back together, and I'm supporting that relationship because we are all part of the same family. We are all part of the same opportunity, and we're all going to be in the same room together at the next event. Does that make sense? All right. Thank you.